I've made thousands of jewelry pieces, attended probably 300 plus pop-up shops, markets, honestly maybe even more than that, and had a very successful online handmade jewelry shop, and also I opened up a retail shop. And in this video, I'm going to share with you why I decided to stop doing that and why I closed my handmade jewelry business, and share with you my story, why I did it, and a few things that I surprisingly learned when I closed my shop that I think could be great advice or insight to anybody thinking about making your hobby or passion a career and a full-time job. This is going to be very heartfelt, and I'm just so excited to sit back, get comfy, and just chat about this crazy experience. And I'm hoping that anybody who has a small business shop or thinking about starting to make jewelry and sell it can take some insight from this, because there's gonna be a lot. So let's get into it. Okay, so how I got into jewelry making and why the hell I decided to start a handmade jewelry business. I'm gonna start by taking you to the moment that I dropped out of college. So this is gonna be 2015. So I'm from Ocean Beach, San Diego, and I decided to hop into a yoga teacher training because I am obsessed with fitness, and it was so much fun, like growing this community within my hometown and just creating all these connections with these incredible people. And why I'm talking about this is because if I didn't sign up for yoga teacher training, it would have never led me to making jewelry. And that is because one magical day we decided to go to my farmer's market, and I saw this girl, and she was just a vibe, like a presence, and she had this incredible pop-up jewelry shop, and I just saw her slanging jewelry, and I was just like, I want this life. I love this cute girl at a farmer's market, living her best life in the sunshine of San Diego and just selling her craft. And honestly, just seeing how successful she was, I was so determined to figure that out. So this is like pre-Etsy, pre-hashtag shop small. Instagram didn't even have stories or reels yet. We were just posting little pictures. And I went home and I decided to make an Instagram. I came up with the name Ruby to Blue for my jewelry business, which I thought just was really cute and it fit. And then I just bought some tools. I just bought some basic pliers, some wire, some beads, and I just went for it. And again, there was nothing on YouTube teaching you how to make jewelry. There was no Instagram reels teaching you. You didn't have me teaching you. It was just flowing with my creativity and finding something that worked. And I can really say that the success of my business and the growth of my handmade jewelry business was all centered around community. Having this community of these amazing yogis, and then also having an incredible community at my restaurant that I was working at with all my servers and bartenders, my friends and my family. And Ocean Beach just kind of feels like a small town. I had so many people who just wanted to support me, and I was just selling my jewelry out of a little case that I'd bring to work, coffee shops, to friends' parties, to everywhere. And I was just kind of slanging jewelry out of my suitcase. And something that was so cool was at the restaurant I worked at, all the servers and bartenders would buy my jewelry and they would wear it, and I would give them business cards. So they were just kind of walking advertisement for me. And even there was some times where I'd be wearing my jewelry and I would sell a necklace off my body to a customer. It was insane. And something that I feel is so cool about the organic growth of my business was just how much I put myself out there. I wasn't paying for ads. I wasn't selling on Instagram through social media. I was just getting myself out there and passing out business cards and talking to people and just getting my web just all around San Diego. And then before you knew it, I was kind of like the jeweler of San Diego, and word just spread, and friends of friends of friends were buying my jewelry. And then that led me to opening an Etsy shop, which this was really cool. This was when Etsy was actually really sick and there wasn't a lot of people on there. They weren't trying to get you to run ads. I feel like once they started wanting money for ads, that's when everything changed. And it was just really authentic and cool. And I started selling a lot of my jewelry on Etsy. And I started attending my farmer's market and just kind of took off. I was just doing probably 5 farmer's markets a week. I was selling on my Etsy shop, which then I soon opened up a website. I was scaling, and I was just selling and having so much fun and learning truly so much. I taught myself everything, and it was such a cool and incredible experience, and I would never take any of it back because I think it truly evolved me into who I am today, and just kind of putting myself out there and learning so much and learning all these new things and crying and laughing. Like, the roller coaster ride was everything. So in 2020, when COVID hit, I decided to hop on TikTok, and I ended up like posting these like really cringy videos, and and they just like blew up. I was making these earrings out of recycled bikini scraps. I got this concept because my sister was she had a bikini company, and all of her scraps, after she cut out all of her cutouts for the fabric that she needed for the bikinis, there were so many extra scraps. And so I tried tying them around some hoops, and I just came up with this really cute design that honestly blew up. I was selling more of those earrings than anything, and like the whole concept was you can match with your bikini and people could wear it in the water. It was waterproof and it was really cool, and it just kind of took off on TikTok, and I ended up really starting to sell like a lot of jewelry online, and I hired some people to help me. And this was just really when like my growth was just and I look back on this moment and I'm like, no wonder I was so like tired all the time. I was like losing weight because I was like constantly working. I didn't have great relationships with everybody in my life. Like, work was always first. I could never get out of it. And when I really look back on that moment of when my jewelry business was really taking off, I feel like it was moving too fast for me. And instead of like taking a break and finding ways to help me grow, like by getting some help, I just kind of was taking it on and just trying to put all my time and energy into it. But truly, there was not enough time in the week for how much I had to do. And that is where burnout comes in. But we aren't fully burnt out yet, because in 2021, I decided to open up a shop. And this was like my forever dream. I was always trying to achieve this. I always wanted to shop, and I look back on this now and thank God I almost like signed a lease for like a 2-year contract for a shop. I'm so happy I didn't do that. There's so many reasons why I'm so happy I didn't do that. But I ended up finding this space that was inside a coffee shop, and I was like, this is perfect. I can create my own hours. They have so much traffic coming in already all the time. The rent was super cheap. I was like, let's go for it. So this was like the highlight of my career. I had so much fun building this shop, designing it, getting it all going. And again, my business was just like growing, because once I had all this foot traffic sales going on, plus the online, I was burnt out. So, dun dun dun, that led me to taking a seat and being like, girl, how you doing? And mentally, I was not okay. Physically, I was not okay. I was just burnt the fuck out. And I knew in that moment, I knew it was kind of coming up like a year before that. I had a feeling that this wasn't going to be sustainable. And I had to kind of rethink everything. And in this moment, I just kind of sat down and I thought about all of the jobs that I do for my business, from accounting to shop design to graphic design to social media management to content creating. What one is my favorite? And I realized that truly my favorite thing about my business was branding, content creation, telling a story online, and just having so much fun with that. And so I decided to try to find a job doing that. I found this incredible job being a content creator for a brand I actually still work for called Embody. They make the best sustainable jumpsuits. I love them so much. This company is my best friend's sister's company. So she was like, sure, like we need reels, we need TikToks, we can't keep up. Could you help us with that? And that's kind of where my in was with content creation, because reels just happened, TikTok was just blowing up, and brands needed a presence. So I was like, hey, I know what to do. You want to hire me? You can check out my Instagram. I obviously know what I'm doing. And yeah, that's what led me to content creation. And I'm so incredibly grateful of how the organic rhythm of my life led me to doing this, which I absolutely feel like I'm so passionate about. And finding a way to create content and teach you guys how to make jewelry was like the fusion of my two favorite things into one. And I have never felt so aligned in something that I do. And I'm just so grateful for the rhythm of how everything got me to where I am today. And now this is going to take me into a few things that after I closed my shop, I was able to reflect on, and some things I learned, and we're going to hop into that right now. Number 1, stable income. Once I felt like I had stable income coming in for the first time in my life, and I knew how much money I was going to be making that month, my life changed. I did not realize that I was living kind of in fight or flight survival mode every day, and if I didn't make a sale, I realized that like my emotional state, how I was doing, the energy I was giving off was like, bleh. I just would get kind of depressed, and I was just constantly feeling like there was always something I could do to make money. And if I wasn't in work mode, I was feeling really shitty, like I was failing and not making sales. And this was just a really big moment for me to reflect on, because I realized that I really value structure in my life, and I really value knowing where my money's coming from and being able to plan more in my life, and knowing I have money coming in that I can go on vacations and I can get that dinner with my friends, and without the worry of like when is more money gonna come in. And that was truly something that I wasn't really even thinking about until I switched to having stable income. So that is something very, very important to think about if you are getting into creating stuff or starting a small business. Just really think about like what you value and if this is worth it to you. And obviously there's so many reasons why this was worse for me. My business structure wasn't super great. I was handcrafting everything. So every business is different, but for me personally, I love my stable income, and that is something that I'm not ever going to give up again. So just reflect on that if you are thinking about making your handmade craft business your full-time business. I am definitely a hardcore advocate of keep it a side hustle. It is so great as a side hustle, but do you, baby, and always dream big, okay? Number 2, and this is a huge one for me, was I was not creating art anymore. I was just creating sales. And what I mean by that is my jewelry became so much different than when I first started making jewelry, because all of my styles and everything I was making was for other people. It was what other people wanted to buy, and I feel like my personal style and who I was as an artist got submerged under the responsibility of needing to sell the jewelry. And now that I am not selling jewelry anymore and I can work at my bench in a more mindful, slow way with no pressure of selling it, I have just got all of my creativity flow back. I absolutely love making jewelry again. By the end of my business, I was such a robot. I was just mass producing like the same rings, the same earrings. I was even having people make it. I wasn't even making it anymore. And the whole idea of my business completely evolved and changed once the business really took over. So that is something to really think about too. If I could do it all over, I would probably not do it that way. And that takes me into our third topic, which is about my business structure. So I was moving so fast. I was moving so quickly. My business was growing so fast. I had no time to stop and reflect on like actually what the fuck was going on. And I thought I was making a lot more money than I actually was. And yeah, guys, my business model was so expensive. I was making incredibly expensive jewelry and selling it so cheap because I just wanted to make sales. And that kind of goes into the fight or flight mentality that I was talking about, the survival mode. I just wanted to make sales all the time. So I really underpriced my jewelry. And once I actually closed my handmade jewelry shop, I would go into stores and like nobody had the type of jewelry I was making, and I feel like it was so much more special than I even kind of advertised it. And that was just because my business model was to sell at a low price. And if I could do that all over again, and who knows, maybe I will open up a shop again down the road, I would just drop a few super limited pieces once a month, twice a month, and my shop is literally closed until I drop those pieces, and those pieces are super expensive. And they are expensive because they're one of a kind. They're super unique, and I take my time on them to actually create art. I definitely have seen a lot of girlies with some business models like that, and it makes so much more sense. And I think that their story could be a lot different than mine, because you can just tell mine was more of like a rat race. Number 4, you guys, my health, my body, my neck, my hands. I was so broken, and I was not listening to my body. I was literally waking up, drinking coffee, going in my garage, making jewelry until like 3 p.m. on no food. My blood sugar was spiking. I was having skin issues. I was losing weight. There's so much about this moment in my life that I look back on that I'm like, you were so stupid. Also, posture, our necks. I have serious neck damage from making jewelry for 9 years, and that is something I'm working on every day, realigning my posture, working out at the gym, doing what I gotta do. So seriously, if this is you, if you are making jewelry every day for your business, or anything you're doing just hunched over all day, like my best advice I can give you is to stretch, do Pilates, and be so mindful about your posture when you're at your bench. Please be mindful about your beautiful necks and your beautiful hands, and take care of yourself. The hustle really deteriorates your body, and you just are living in this stressful state. And yeah, just take care of yourself, stretch. But that was a huge lesson that I took from after I closed my shop, reflecting on how badly I treated my body. So take care of yourselves. Number 5, we are fluid beings, and I am a strong believer that we are made to evolve and try things out and take risks. And after I closed my business, which was probably one of the hardest moments in my life, it felt very, very difficult. Like I was kind of shedding a skin and stepping into a whole new person. But once I did it, and once I moved forward and opened a new door, it was just like, wow, like I have so much more to achieve. Like this was so great, and all of this led me to this, but I do not look at it as a failure. I look at it as the best moment of my life, and truly listening to myself and just moving on and moving forward and not feeling stuck. And that is the biggest lesson I have learned from closing my handmade jewelry shop, is if I never took that risk, if I never listened to myself, I would have never found YouTube or content creation or teaching you guys how to make jewelry at my school. I have just found something that just resonates with me so much more. And if you would have asked me in 2020 or told me in 2020 that I was going to be doing this, I would have thought you crazy. But here we are, and life be lifin'. We are just rolling through this roller coaster called life, and this has led me to you. And I am absolutely in love with making these videos for you guys and being here. So please make sure to subscribe if you guys want to chat more with me. If you guys have anything that you want me to explain more about this process of closing my business or opening my business, I absolutely am a nerd about this stuff. And I have so much to share with you guys because I have done so much. This was about 8 years of my life of selling handmade jewelry. So I have so many tips and tricks, especially if you're just thinking about starting out a shop. I got you. So I love you guys so much. Again, if you guys do want to learn how to make jewelry with me, you should check out my school. That's where I drop all of my tutorials and courses, and it's just $10 a month. You subscribe and you get access to all of my videos, but I also will be coming on here as much as I can here on YouTube and sharing with you guys more free content and free things. But I absolutely love you guys so much. I hope you can listen to my story and take some things away from it, learn some things, be inspired by some things. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.